What is going on, guys? Kenny here from 619 Guitars and Gear, and I want to say Happy New Year. Hope 2024 is good for everyone and good to everyone. 2023 was pretty dang good, but I think we can make 2024 even better. But enough of that. Let's jump right on in here. I have something here that I have not seen in many years. Probably haven't seen it in 5-6 years, maybe a little bit more. But it's something I did probably about 11 or 12 years ago, and I wanted to show you. I had a buddy named Scott who was an old bandmate. He was kind enough to let me borrow this thing so we can kind of check it out together. And I told him I'd clean it up and go through it and make sure it's all good. But what I have here is an old Ltd F-200. And what's funny about this is pretty much one of my first paint jobs that I've done on a guitar. You know, I did like a black base coat with like that Rust-Oleum glitter and some clear coat. But back then I didn't know anything about like wet sanding and buffing. So when they talk about orange peel, this thing looks exactly like an orange. It's pretty dang bad. And then I made this little diamond plate cover here to delete the neck pickup, which I thought was pretty cool at the time. And now, I mean, it looks cool, I guess, but it's just, I probably wouldn't do something like that now. I'd probably go a different route. I believe these knobs are from, I want to say from an old Jackson Warrior, which he used to have, that I did a paint job on too, to kind of replicate Sinister Gates's like black and white pinstripe Avenger that he used to have. And unfortunately, that guitar got, I think, damaged in a flood. So I wish I could get my hands on that thing. I tried. I didn't even know that happened until I asked. But I'll put a picture up here of that guitar because that thing was really nice when I was finished with it. Probably one of my third or fourth, paint jobs when I started getting really into it. This has actually the old style trim where the lockers are up here on the saddles instead of, going down under the fine tuners and stuff. I always thought this was a real Floyd, but I guess not. It's just a cheap licensed one. I believe this pickup is actually a Duncan design. And what's funny about this is I always wondered where the other one of this went. So I think this is one, and then the other one is in that pink Ibanez. And both of those actually came out of my Ltd H250. That's what came in that guitar stock. So I always forgot where the other one went, and now it's kind of coming back to me. But this thing is still in pretty good shape. What I loved about this guitar is the neck. It's got like a D-shaped neck, really flat on the back, and it's just super comfortable. It's got my KO initials on the back. I kind of just drew on the LTD logo with like a paint marker. And what stinks is it looks like it's cleared over, because what I was going to do is take it off and print out or cut out a Cricut logo, like a new LTD logo, but I don't know, we'll have to see what we can do. But what I figured we can do is I told him if he lets me borrow it, I'll clean it up and go through it and everything. So one thing I want to try to do is maybe clean up this diamond plate a little bit, clean up the trim because it's really gunked up, and I want to see if I can buff this thing out and maybe wet sand it a little bit just to get it to shine a little bit better. So let's go ahead and throw this thing on the bench. All right, so we got it on the bench here. First thing I'm going to do real quick is just remove the strings. I just broke the lockers free up here, which you probably can't see because it's out of frame. The strings really aren't that bad. I'm trying to think of when I put these on. Like I said, I haven't seen this thing in years, so I'm pretty shocked on how, they're not really rusty or anything. So, let's go ahead and pull these off. I haven't seen one of these old style, top locking, whatever you want to call them, trims in a while, honestly. So in some ways they're convenient, but see here. Looks like there's a bunch of mix match locking blocks in there. Alright, so I'm going to flip this thing over real quick, and I want to take this out completely because that thing needs to be really scrubbed down. She's in pretty rough shape. Real quick, I want to pull this little diamond plate thing off. Man, it's crazy. I need a flathead. Let's use this and grab one of these. I don't even know. I must have just screwed that right into the neck pickup cavity. Look at that screw. That was a, like, whatever you can find moment right there. Be careful here. Yeah, look at that. Honestly, if it were up to me, I'd probably just get rid of this and put a neck pickup back in it, but it would be nice. I was thinking before, like, what kind of, can I make like a new wooden pickguard that kind of maybe like fits the shape better, and it maybe like kind of tails off down here into like a curved point. I don't know. I'll have to maybe think about that. Yeah, she's dusty under here. So, one thing I need to do is try to get these screws out. They're in really bad shape, so let's see if I can even do that. Definitely going to replace these for him. That one's rounded off. That one's rounded off. So I gotta try to get those out somehow. Alright, so what I ended up doing was just drilling the head off of the screw. And I got it. So I just gotta get some pliers and pull the rest of the screw out. Of course, there's no slack on this thing, is there? And yep, it definitely is that other Duncan design. That's awesome. So I'm going to go take this out and maybe take the pickup out altogether. So I got the trim cleaned up pretty good. I might get some black and either touch up these screws. I don't have any replacements for it, but it definitely looks way better than it did before because it was really gunked up. But got this cleaned up. Let's move on. All right, so I got the pickup out. I'm going to go ahead and clean this thing up. It's pretty scratched up. I mean, I can probably polish it a little bit, but she's pretty beat. So clean it up the best I can, and then we'll move on. All right, so I know it looks like we're a little ahead here. So last you saw, I was wiping the guitar down. I started to go ahead and knock down just some of this high stuff. I'm not going to go crazy. I just want to get rid of some of the orange peel, and some of it's like really, really gritty. So just because of the glitter flake underneath. So I'm just going to knock down some of the high stuff. I'm not going to go get it to a glass finish. This clear coat is not thick at all. And I don't think it wasn't that two-stage stuff. It's just a single stage Rust-Oleum clear coat. So I'm going to be really careful. Just knock it down, get it a little bit smoother, and then we'll buff it out, and the body will be all good. All right, so we got it all sanded up. I didn't go crazy. There's still many low spots that I can see of the gloss still shining through. But I went from 800 to 2000. Some spots I didn't even bother doing, like up in here under the horns, because I mean that's pretty smooth. I'll just buff that out. But there's just some spots that I was afraid was too thin. The paint and clear coat on here is really thin to begin with, so I just wanted to be really careful. The back was really bad. You can still see multiple spots where I didn't really sand out good enough. But like I said, I don't want to go crazy. Now what I want to do is there's some chips all around here that I maybe want to, I'm going to probably touch that up just with some Sharpie for now, and then maybe put a drop of some poly over it, let that dry, and then maybe I'll sand it, flush, just so we can get it to blend in. I don't want my buffing pad to maybe grab like a part of the chip and then make it worse, so I kind of just want to make that smooth. So that's what I'm going to do real quick. All right, so we got all those spots filled. I got the buffer, the little angle drill with the buffer pad on it. I'm going to get some compound on this thing, and we're just going to do the best we can. I'm not going to go crazy, but I do want to try to shine this thing up as best I can. I'm going to move on to the headstock, try to get that shined up a little bit. Then we just got to work on these frets and fretboard, clean those up. I was talking to Scott. I think we might actually put a neck pickup in there, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Get rid of this odd diamond plate thing that I put in there for God knows what reason. But maybe we'll get this thing back to more of an original form. But I'm going to move on here, so let's keep going. So I'm just cleaning up this fretboard, rolling the edges. I haven't done this side yet. You'll notice from here on is super light and looks really clean. That's because I'm scraping it down. Now, I'm not like digging in and like scraping a bunch of wood away. You want to make sure there's absolutely no kind of clear coat or anything on your fretboard. If there is, I suggest just doing a different method, just cleaning it. Maybe some steel wool or something like that. But there's no finish on here. I just want to clean this up. There's years old gunk and old oils and stuff on here, some scratches, and it's real rough. So you're basically just going to take your razor blade, and if you're in between two frets, you want to start at a fret and end at a fret. Don't stop in the middle because you'll leave like a little slice mark, and you're just going to like let the razor blade do the work, light pressure, and you're kind of just scraping it smooth and evenly. You don't want to go erratic. Do it nice and smooth back and forth, and then moving each way slow. Don't go too fast. And even on where there's inlays, as long as you're doing it evenly and slow, you won't dig into it. Once you put oil on it, it'll be perfectly fine. But I like to just back and forth. There you go. Nice and clean, ready to be oiled. All right, well, I went to string this thing up, and there's a little bit of a temporary setback here. Unfortunately, one of the saddles has stripped out for locking the strings. I mean, this thing's just kind of old and corroded. I think I can get these parts, so I'm going to order them up. But for now, I threw in a ESP licensed Floyd that I had laying around. It is chrome, and it's not in the best shape. It's kind of corroded and stuff, but I cleaned it up as best as possible. It's still going to look good, still going to function perfectly, and I mean, it's kind of updated compared to the other style, but yeah, I mean, all that's really going to change is the looks. So I went ahead and replaced the locking nut up here to be chrome with some chrome lockers, just to kind of match it. I know the tuners are black, but honestly, it is what it is. Just a little setback. Once I get the parts in, we will put everything back at a later date. But for right now, I just want to get this thing strung up. All right, so we got it all back together. I am really excited about this because I haven't played this guitar in so long. It looks great with the neck pickup back in it, and you know, wet sanding and buffing out the paint just brought it back to life. I have 64 gauge strings on it right now in drop A sharp. They are a little tight, a little tighter than I would like. I'd probably, you know, drop down a couple gauges on the strings. But it's playing really good. It sounds decent. This Duncan design, I think it's a HB 105. It sounds pretty dang good, I'm not going to lie. But what better to test this thing out than to play the riffs from my old band when I actually used to play this guitar many, many years ago. I don't even know. It was, I'll put a picture up of me playing it, but it was a long time ago. Probably 2010, maybe. I'm not really sure. I'd have to go back and look, but all that stuff was played in drop D, so I'm not really sure how this is going to sound because we're in drop A sharp, but let's try it out. Alright guys, well that pretty much wraps this video up. I had a lot of fun doing this, brought me back to memory lane, and I really missed this guitar. Like at one point this was my main guitar. I believe my H250 was down, and back then I had no idea how to fix it and didn't really have the money to pay to get it fixed. So I played this thing. I will put a picture of me playing it. I have a couple of them just so you can see. This was back a long time ago, and it was actually blue. It was like a turquoise blue from the factory, but after buffing this out and wet sanding it and everything, it looks absolutely awesome. I really actually like the way this ESP trim feels rather than the old one. I am going to get the parts just to be able to put this back to its original state, but this one feels pretty good. I think it looks absolutely awesome. The Duncan Design HB105 actually sounds pretty decent. I'm pretty shocked. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and clean this thing up. I got to tighten up a few things, and, you know, I'm going to check the intonation and everything, make sure it's going to stay in tune and all that. We're going to throw it in the case and give it back to Scott. I tried to get it off of him, but he wasn't budging. But I know what it's like to have a guitar that's sentimental and not want to get rid of, so I can't really blame him on that. But maybe I'll borrow this thing back soon and do some recording or something with it, because I really just love the way this thing plays. And it just brings me back to a happy time. So I'm going to go ahead and button this up. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know this is a little bit of a long video. I was going to split it up into 2 sections, but whatever. It is what it is. I tried to cut out as much as I could, but I wanted you guys to see pretty much everything I did. But it is what it is. Hopefully you sat through most of it at least. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, be a good person, and we'll see you in the next video.